Hello, welcome everybody. Let's jump right in. Got a couple more PCGS submissions that just arrived today. So let's go ahead and open these puppies. I already know the grades, and PCGS was hard. They were tough on these raw coins. I sent in 23, and unfortunately, more than half of them not great grade. So I do want to show them off because there are some pretty ones in here. So let's start out with this one. So this is a Micro S 1945S with great color. I would nickname this Little Blueberry because it is blue front and rear. It's got some nice album toning on the rear. As you can see, blue, circular, really deep blue in the periphery, and then sort of a golden orange in the center. Not full bands, but as you can see right here, this S mint mark is about 30 to 40% smaller than the classical San Francisco mint mark that you'll see on basically every other Mercury dime. So that does make this one unique. It is a variety type that many people seek after. Is that small S on to the next one. Also, a 1964D. It's got a wheel mark. So I did not see this on the grading chart, but now that it says a wheel mark, I think when I looked it up online on my PCGS app, it just said damage. And so I was trying to look for the damage. I still don't see a wheel mark on this, but this one has got some beautiful toning on the reverse and the front end. Right here, especially, you've got some really nice rainbow, and it's like flush. You got every color of the rainbow just back to back. In fact, pull this true view up on your end. Just type in that number right here. Pull that true view up. This is a killer coin. Really nice. But unfortunately, they did see a wheel mark, which is a mark that is typically black. So maybe it's here on the hair, but it's a black wheel mark that will typically be left from, what are they called? Coin counters. Back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, that was all the hype of banks. Banks used to use these. They still are used today. Coin shops will use them to count colonial or junk silver, constitutional silver. But that wheel mark will typically not allow it to be straight graded, and I did not notice that on here. I did pick it up raw for a really good deal, so I'm not too sad. But the true view is really what I'm excited about on this one. Alrighty, let's jump on to the next one. This one, finally, 1 out of 4 straight graded. So this one also has a lot of rainbow toning. It's an MS63, 1964D as well. Got lots of beautiful colors on this one. And the reverse also has quite the original surface and skin to it. Next one. 1892. This is actually one of my favorites that I sent in. The reason being is its originality. It's super, super lustrous. I'm actually surprised that this didn't come back in MS63 or 4 just because of the luster and the color. But as you look really close, especially on those true views, you do see a little bit of rub on the top of those wings. So right there on both sides. You're also going to see a little bit of rub on the feathers above the legs. So where the claws and the legs are, those feathers that are connected. Those feathers on the drumsticks do have a slight bit of wear right there. And you can pull this up on the true view. I showed the number on the obverse, but beautiful coin nonetheless. This is the first year of the Barber series in this quarter, and because it was a first year issue, they did get saved a lot. So this one is typically found pretty commonly in high grades, usually AU, MS. You don't typically find them in XF or VF, but you will find them in really high grades. One of the ways you can tell if it's genuine, it's from 1892 to 1900. The wing, if you're looking at the eagle, the wing on the very left-hand side, the tip of that wing hits the edge of the E in United, but it does not extend beyond it. And I'll show you in another one because I do have a couple that do extend beyond that because they used a different hub from 1900 until 1916, the last year that these were minted. And that wingtip extends beyond just a millimeter or two, but it's enough to give you an indication that this is a genuine coin from that first hub, from the first master dies. And the other way you can tell is on the obverse. The earlobe or the cartilage in the inner ear is small and short. On the 1900 to 1916, that cartilage or the inner part of the ear goes almost to the very top. You're also going to see a little bit of a difference on the left ribbon here, but in my opinion, it's not enough to really tell the difference unless you're a really experienced collector in the Barber series. But that cartilage of the inner ear is how you can tell on the obverse, and then the left wing of the eagle is how you can tell on the reverse. But this is a great coin. Love the color. It was amazing in hand, and I chose to grade this one because it is just stunning in hand. All right, let's move on to our 1897-0. This one did not straight grade. I do see that it is a little bit hazy now that I'm looking at it in the capsule, now that it's slabbed, but this is a great coin. This is a tough year to find with this mint mark. The 1897-0, they didn't mint a whole lot, and they weren't saved. And the O mint typically has always had issues. Their dies weren't well taken care of. The mint employees, especially for the dollar series, were just minting literally millions of these coins, and in a lot of cases just throwing them in bank bags, and they were getting stored in vaults at federal banks, and that didn't make the workers too happy for a few years because they weren't going out into circulation. So there probably wasn't too much pride in the work to really keep these dies up and polished and nice. But this is definitely XF details. You can see the little teeny hairlines on the obverse. Really the Barber series, dime, quarter, half dollar, when you get into higher grades like VF and above, the grade is always made from the obverse. The reverse does make a grade and can contribute a lot to it, but really the grade is made from that obverse. And so that does have XF details, and even though it's a detailed clean coin, it's still over $700-800 coin in that grade, in that category, because it is very hard to find in that with that level of preservation. All right, let's check out our next one. Okay, another Barber. This is a 1900S. So this one was AU. It did get a clean designation, so it did not straight grade. But you can see on the reverse, this was probably dipped. It was probably dipped, and then you can see a few hairlines inside of the fields. But this is a really nice coin. I picked it up raw. I thought it looked great in hand. I still do. It's a great coin for a filler. You can crack it out, put it in your Dansko album. Even just having it graded and PCGS labeling this coin genuine is a win in and of itself. So great coin. All right, next up, another Barber. I've got a few. This one they said was tooled, unfortunately. And when I looked at the true views, I did see a few marks here below the eagle's wing, as well as in the stars, and that is what they're calling tooled. I don't think they were trying to fix anything. My guess is it just had some really odd wear, was stored somewhere, maybe it hit against something, but they did give us a tooled designation, sort of a kiss of death. kind of upset by how many of these coins did not straight grade. But we looked at the 1892 all the way up to the 1900. Now we get to see the second hub version. I'm gonna try to get this up to the camera well enough so you can see it. But beyond this E, you can see that the eagle's wing tip on this side, doesn't do it on this side. This is the indicator. This is one of the diagnostics that you can use to be able to see if this is a genuine Barber quarter. Didn't happen on the half dollar, but the Barber quarter, you can see that eagle's wing extends just a millimeter or two beyond the top of that E, beyond the edge of that E. So in the true views, it's much easier to see, but you can see that did extend beyond there. And then for 1892, they did use another hub in which you can see the center and more details in the E, but they only used that for about half of the mintage, and then they quickly switched over to the wing that it still reached the top, or the eagle's wing reached the very top of that E. But great coin, beautiful in hand, lots of luster, and I am sad about the grade on this one because honestly, this is an amazing coin in hand. All right, next up, running through a lot of Barber quarters. We got a straight grade on this one. This is an AU 55 1908. So this one's got great detail. I love the surface on this one. Very original, doesn't have any hairlines, hasn't been cleaned or anything. I love the Barber series. It's a very simple series. It's a very simple design, but at the same time, it's got some beauty. These were workhorses. These are workhorse coins. So to find coins that are in this grade that look this nice, really beyond the F, VF, and beyond is very difficult. During the late 1800s, early 1900s, I mean, we had a large recession, 1894. We also had just a boom of the Renaissance period, and everybody was circulating these coins circulated like none other. There was a lot of things going on. The automobile was invented during this period and became very popular. And so this coin really saw a lot of amazing and fascinating US history. All right, here is my 1913S. I love this coin. Found this raw, actually. Decided to grade it. I kind of was worried about this scratch right here that goes into her cap just a little bit beyond, right behind this laurel leaf right here. Her headband is made of laurel leaves. So this scratch goes up here. It's not, in my opinion, it's not super distracting because it almost looks like a leaf in and of itself. And it's a very old scratch, so because it's such a key date, I didn't think that they were going to give it a scratch designation, but it is genuine. But this coin is fun. The 1913S Barber quarter, believe it or not, was actually the lowest minted quarter, actually the lowest minted coin of the entire 20th century. So there was not one coin that had a lower mintage than this. It had a mintage of 40,000 coins total, and there is literally only an estimated survival rate of less than 2,500 coins. So out of all those 40,000 that were minted on the mint records, there's only an estimated survival of 2,500 or less. I learned about this being the rarest US coin from my good friend Jeff Arbogast, who loves the Barber series and especially this one too. But this is a great coin. Love it in hand. Super original. Unfortunately, it does have that scratch designation, but as a VG, that is at least an 8. I've compared this side by side with a couple of a CAC approved green label VG8s. And this one actually had a little bit more detail than another VG8. Not